And so I hunted him down with a machete. I was on the news for like 6 weeks. This gets me every time. I tried to shoot him and tried to stab him, and I tried to smash him in between a car and a van. I was looking at 127 years. This is when I was like just barely 18.
What was the first drug you did?
First drug was cocaine.
How old were you?
Cocaine I did at 11. Alcohol I started at 7. Alcohol and cigarettes. Cigarettes was like I'm cool kind of thing. They said like, put your phone down. And every time, and don't touch it for 24 hours. But every time you look at it, that's how often an addict thinks about drugs and alcohol. That's when recovery became real. You know, I'm a soldier. It doesn't matter what kind of soldier I am. I'm gonna be a soldier for whatever it is that needs to be done. I've given you everything that you need to understand. I just smacked you across the face. Are you gonna believe in me yet? There's something, you know, there's a higher power of some sort. I could actually cry about it, you know.
Welcome to the Davison Boys, episode number 4. Today's episode is a little bit different. We have a special guest here today, Joseph Rose. He's from Washington State, and he has the most crazy experience that I've ever heard in my entire life. He served 14 years, 10 years plus 4 months, not consecutively, but in prison. Mm-hmm. Came out, he has a little girl. How old is she?
2.5.
2.5.
What's her name?
Lake.
Aw, that is adorable. Okay, wait, what was the longest consecutive time you spent in prison?
6 years, 1 month.
All right.
6 years. I love how he just knows 6 years, 1 month.
Well,
I was counting them every day.
Counting the days, I'm sure.
That is wild. But he
don't
also
count them.
He came out of it. You went in first time at 18 years old. He came out of it, started working, went back to prison. He came out, and how many years sober now?
Listen, Tanner could tell the story, but
we're going to have him tell the entire story. I just want to kind of introduce
6.5 years sober now.
6.5 years.
Or 5.5 years, excuse me.
How often do you go to your meetings?
Pretty often.
Wait, sober from like drugs and alcohol? Both?
Yeah.
Nice.
I've done enough for 1 million people.
Okay, I'll stay away then.
Joe, you are one of the most like hardworking. I used to work with Joe
before he lost his job.
Before I lost my job, and he is a go-getter. Every day he gets there right on time. He gets there early, and then he is selling throughout the entire day. But he doesn't quit. So if he's not doing good that day, he's gonna stay and grind the entire night. Yeah. So I was really confused. Like, how did you go to prison for that long of a time, and then come out and change your whole life around?
Man, that shit wasn't easy. You know, I don't even know what happened that changed me. I ended up in Utah, and all these people were talking about like treatment centers and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, what in the, what is that?
Did you know what a Mormon was before you?
I did,
okay.
yeah.
Just wondering.
I think the whole world knows what those are. However you say that.
No, there's so many people that don't, though. That's the thing.
You know what? Actually, you're right. Because when I was locked up, we were talking about there was a kid that wanted whatever that book is, the Book of Mormon. And so we were talking, and the dude next to me was like, "Is that a food?"
While you're in prison?
Yeah.
Did you read the Book of Mormon in prison?
No, the kid next to me did.
That's awesome.
He was like all about it.
Joe, I want to go back though, so I want to hear your story from start to finish. Okay. And I've heard your story before, so don't leave any details out.
I have not heard it.
We would be here for hours if we like went through the whole thing, but we can touch on like the major parts of it.
Yeah, I just want to hear like when you first went to, because you were young. You were 18 years old.
I was locked up before that as juvenile as well.
Yeah, I want to hear from like the first time you were locked up, why you got locked up, and then kind of consecutively how you kept going back to prison.
Yeah, so it really started kind of growing up in a household of alcoholics, you know. And just kind of seeing what they were doing, you know, at 7 years old, I was like, I might as well taste this. And then that tasted good. And
what was the first drug you did?
First drug was cocaine.
How old were you?
Cocaine I did at 11. Alcohol I started at 7. Alcohol and cigarettes. Cigarettes was like I'm cool kind of thing, and alcohol was like, damn, this is fucking me up. I like this. You know?
You were 11 years. When I was 11 years old, I didn't even experience like the outside of my
Okay, but
house.
where did you grow up?
I was here for a couple years, but mainly Washington.
See, it's so different. We're in Utah. We weren't
I
there.
grew up in Washington at
You
11.
did actually.
But not.
I forgot about
we were
that.
actually kind of in the same area a little bit.
Yeah.
You're a lot older than
Yeah.
I am, but
Yeah.
a
lot?
Just growing up in a Mormon home, like I am very in a bubble where I feel
Yeah.
like you weren't at all.
No. I was not in a bubble. I could leave and I could go and come as I want at. I don't even remember to being told no.
Were you the only child?
No, I had 2 older sisters. I don't know, man. They just didn't end up doing the route I did. My middle sister did later in life. But for me, it was like, as soon as I found the alcohol and I figured out how I was feeling off of that, because I was getting, had kind of an abusive life too. That like took all the pain away. So I was drinking a lot at that age.
Were you going to school?
Some. I mean, I'd go to school and fight with teachers. That way I could get kicked out and, things like that. I used to have to bring home like a red and green piece of paper from 4th grade saying I was good that day or not.
That is wild.
I think they stopped doing that in schools,
Yeah.
but my friend's a teacher, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But
At 11 years old, did you feel like there was like right and wrong? Did you know that doing cocaine at 11 was not right?
I mean, I don't even know. I didn't ever look at what was right as wrong. I was looking at whatever I wanted to do, and that's what I'm doing.
Was it like a friends that influenced you?
Yeah, they didn't really influence me, so it's kind of funny. So Ice Cube, Vanilla Ice, had this white Mustang back in the day, right? In his little Ice video, and one of the videos he made, and man, I thought that car was the coolest thing. And for some reason, it was cocaine white. That's what everybody would say. And there were just some people that I ended up being around. So like when you're running out there like that in the streets like I was, you just run into people, and there was older people doing cocaine, and I just was like, hey, let me have some of that.
Did you live next to like a city area, or were you like in a neighborhood full of kids?
Yeah, I was kind of in the city. It wasn't, it was a neighborhood to an extent, yeah. But I did go to the city a lot because.
I just don't know how at 11 years old you found cocaine.
well, you're just a product of your environment.
That's
If everyone
true.
around you's doing that, then it's
just
like
so
normal
hard for
to you.
like someone like me to see that because all my friends drugs were bad. I didn't know what drugs were until I was like 18.
It really depends on your environment.
And
Yeah,
you've grown
for
up
sure.
a lot, but I feel like you were stuck in that mindset where you went to prison. Like my little brother, he went to jail 10
yeah.
days. He comes out completely like, I read all these books, I'm a better person. But if I had to be in there for over a month,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live.
Let alone 10 years.
I mean, my
let's
thing
not
was
live.
is like,
Oh,
Like,
okay.
that's where I'm like, if I got to go to jail for like over a month, my life's over.
No,
Did you
it's
feel like that,
not.
though?
Jail rehabilitates you. That's what it's meant to do.
jail does not rehabilitate.
Well, that's what it's designed to do. That's
They
the
just
point
say
of
that
it.
so the community thinks it's good. It's it's the biggest gang on the planet.
Because you're surrounded by people who are just like you,
Yeah,
on
you
drugs,
learn a
selling
lot.
drugs, other things, right?
Yeah. So for me personally, as I was 11 doing that shit, I got kicked out when I was 12. Like, don't come back.
Did you ever go back?
Yeah, I had been back, but not like to stay. I would like break into the house to eat and things like that. And I ran into this dude that was selling it and seen how much money he had, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. And so I started selling dope at 12 and 13 years old, man.
Just the people that you knew. Like, how do you find these people to?
They find you, man.
I've never seen a 12-year-old kid that I can buy dope from.
So
Not
I
at
kind
all.
of stayed that route when I was younger. I looked older, so it helped a ton to be able to do what I wanted. I mean, I'd walk in bars and strip clubs at 15, 16 years old.
Were you scared?
Hell no.
Not
Scared of what?
Selling drugs. What if something
I
happened?
was
they pulled
fucking
you on you?
high. You don't care about nothing when you're high, bro.
So
I
your
was on
first
a
drug
ride.
was alcohol,
Yeah.
and then cocaine,
Marijuana.
marijuana, and then it just kind of escalated.
Marijuana
from
made me
there.
paranoid. Like somebody would smoke crack or something, they get real paranoid.
Yeah.
That's what marijuana would do to me. So I didn't really mess with it too much.
And then what about like after marijuana? What led you into doing cocaine for your first time?
It was just everybody said that's the money. Like that's where the money. Like that's the money right there. And
Were you just trying your product to see how it was to sell it?
No, I ran into those people that had it, and I was like, hey, let me try that, and they were just like, here.
Really?
As soon as I did it, I found God. It was cocaine.
Were you making a livable income at that age?
I made enough to support my habit, spend money on just about anything I wanted in regards of it. I mean, you don't have big ass dreams at that age. Mine was more survival.
For sure, but was it enough to help you survive?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I did it for 31 years, so yeah, I did pretty well.
Were your parents struggling at the time to like raise you?
Oh yeah. I mean, one, what they were doing being alcoholics, and then two, I was a hellion, man. You know,
Were you the only child?
No, I had two older sisters.
We talked
Yeah.
about this. It's okay.
Earlier?
Yeah, we did
I
talk
haven't
about
heard this.
it.
Do you have
You asked it.
Yeah, you did ask it.
I asked it.
on this podcast.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You have two older sisters. You're the third. You're the boy.
I'm the youngest
You're the
boy,
hellion.
yeah. I'm the
and your
only boy.
parents, are they having a hard time like disciplining you, or
There's
are they
a-
older or
discipline
younger?
is whooping my ass. That's disciplining. There's no like, hey, you're bad. It's hey, let's beat the shit out you.
Did that make you want to act out more?
It made me just want to leave more. It made me want to be out in them streets. You know,
Do you feel like your friends were more of a family than your family was to you?
I don't feel like I ever had a family. They were all for business, man. It was always, that's why I still to this day am not great at like keeping friends 24/7, because I still look at opportunity, because everybody was an opportunity. What, how, when? What can I get from them? How can I get it? And when can I get it? And that's how I had to live, because I had to also protect myself being that young. And I needed whatever everybody else had to keep me going. So I used a lot of people. I did a lot of shitty things.
What was your first time going to prison?
Prison?
What led up to that?
Or just being arrested in general. Serving
So my
time.
first
Yeah.
time being arrested was, so I heard that the girl I was with at the time, the older sister's boyfriend, tried to touch the youngest daughter. And so I hunted him down with a machete
Are you serious?
and chased him, and then he called the cops on me. I never ended up catching him, but I got in trouble for second-degree assault. That was my first. I think it
You
was
were justified in that
14,
one.
15. Yeah, I should have. Yeah.
How long were you in juvie?
I did like 27 days for that, I
Okay.
think. And then not too long after that, I got caught with a 380 in my pants. We got pulled over, and the cops went to me if I was the passenger, and had me get out of the car, found a gun.
How old
Went
were
to
you at this
jail.
point?
I think maybe like 15 or 16.
I didn't touch a gun until I was like 18.
Okay, Tanner, you lived a very
I
different
had
life for
guns
sure.
when I was 13, bro. Like when I was selling drugs, I had a 40 cal Smith & Wesson.
Did you ever like threaten people with it?
There's no comments for those.
I just want to experience your life for a day.
Yeah.
So then you go to jail for the second time.
I actually only got booked into jail. My real dad came and got me out, and just I went, right back into the streets because he's the same way. And they ended up having to drop that charge because it was a legal search and seizure, so I didn't get anything for that.
Did you get your 27 days back?
No, that was for the machete.
Is your dad supporting you through this whole time? Like your real dad? Is he
No, there's no support.
no support? He's just bailing you out of jail, letting you
He
go on
just
your own?
came. He just came and got me. When you're a juvenile, your parents can come get you.
They have to come get you, right? Since
Kinda,
you're a
yeah.
kid.
But if they put you in like juvenile detention for a long time, don't you have to stay there?
They could potentially. If he wouldn't have came got me, I would have stayed there. Yeah.
And he just felt like he wanted to come get you out.
Yeah, I mean, he's been to prison, he's been in trouble. He wasn't taking care of me or like being a part of my life. I couldn't live there because I was too loud on the stairs he didn't do well in life. He lived with some lady. They were together, I guess. Really, I think he just needed a place to live as an old ass fucker, but
That's how they are.
Survival of the fittest.
Dad's got to survive, man.
so he came, got me, and let me go. The girl that I was with came, pick me up. I stayed the night at her house, and kind of went there. And just from like that point forward, I loved it. Like
That lifestyle?
yeah,
The thrill.
jail, power, money, the whole thing. I didn't like jail.
See, I feel like the power
That's the only
part,
part.
that's the part that would get
That's
me.
the part that like.
Would get anybody.
Yeah.
That's the part that made me want to get as big as I possibly could.
And how far did you go?
I went
feel
from country. I went all across this country,
That is wild. Like you traveled?
Washington to Florida. I mean, you could say I traveled with stuff.
Absolutely.
So when all this was happening, were you in Washington still?
For that stuff, yeah, yeah. All of my prison was done in Washington State. So I went to jail for a big one. I was looking at 127 years. This is when I was like just barely 18. They had me for a couple assault ones with some other charges, and so I went to jail for that. That was kind of a movie kind of thing that like. I was on the news for like 6 weeks. We destroyed like a gas station and
Who's we? Like, how many
about
people?
that.
Yeah.
I want to hear this gas station story.
You can just say we. Like,
Pull
how
that,
many people
pull
are we
that mic a
talking?
little bit closer.
so anyway, I was obviously doing my thing. I was selling drugs, doing the stuff I had to survive, and I mean I've already been busted for it, so it really don't matter. But this guy came over because his wife was over at our house, doing her little shit that she did. She'd come over every Wednesday. It was like clockwork, She was in an alcoholic relationship, and they were married. They had 3-4 kids, I think. And he came over and grabbed her by the back of her neck and the buckle of her pants and started fucking smashing her head into the van, and I lost it. So I tried to shoot him and tried to stab him, and I tried to smash him in between a car and a van.
So
Took about
there's shot, stab, missed every time?
I mean, it's kind of a lot more than that.
And then you tried to hit him with a van?
Yeah, so we actually went 36 blocks chasing him, and they were in a van, and I was trying to run them off the road, so I kept hitting it and hitting parked cars. And
Are the cops called at this point?
I have no idea because
Probably.
we were still
This is
like,
probably the point
well,
the
we're on
cops got
Hilltop
called.
in Tacoma, so like, you flash your lights at somebody up there, they're gonna shoot you. So it's not like the cops just get called all randomly. Like you could go walk out and sell dope right on your front porch, and ain't no cop coming down that road. I was like the only white guy up there. Actually, Cracker Jack was up there too.
Cracker Jack.
Yeah,
I
that was the
like
homie.
that nickname.
That was the homie. Yeah, he was the only other white boy.
Here, pull this mic in front of you a little bit more on this side.
How's that?
That's perfect. There we go.
Yeah, so he's the only other white guy up there. Anyway, I went out there. I started fighting with him. Started whooping his ass. He got into a van, took off.
This is Cracker Jack.
Where's she at this
is,
time?
Everybody's like picking her up, like putting her back together. Cracker Jack's not part of the story. I was just saying.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
He's the
putting
only other-
the girl back
Right there.
together?
Yeah, she was getting her head smashed into it, so she was like fucked up.
So he bashed your head and then just took off? And then
Well,
you
no,
chased her?
I jumped into it and broke it up from there.
Yeah.
And me and him just squared up and started fighting. And so started winning. And he like got away, jumped into the van, and they drove off. They pulled up in a van. So then I thought everything was over.
Did you have your homies with you? Like, were you just by yourself?
I had people there, but everybody knows not to get in the way. I was off the hook, dude. I'm telling you, like,
Were you like?
I was
Were
high,
you leading
like-
those people? Like, were they looking up to you as somebody that they wanted to be?
I mean, I hope not, but most likely. That's not an idol you want.
So you weren't.
I had
you
those
weren't
idols.
following
They
them
didn't
around. They
make
were
me
following
nowhere.
you.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I also feel like at that age, you don't know who you are technically.
Not at all.
So it's like,
But he started young.
He
He's
did,
11 years
for
old.
sure, yeah.
I knew who he was.
I just wanted to be a badass. Like, that's all, like,
media.
I
Did
figured
media
life
influence-
was over. I was going to be either dead or in prison, doing drugs. Like, I was committed. That's my lifestyle. I knew nothing different. I wasn't taught anything different for that part. So anyway, they left. Well, he turned around and came back, threw a rock through our front window, And that's when I went crazy. I grabbed some knives. I ran out, chased him. Somebody I know was pulling up, and so I kind of took their car from them and started chasing the van as well. And we were shooting at it and didn't hit that, and then trying to ram it off the road so I could get to him. And then we pulled up, and he pulls through this AM/PM. This is after we've already traveled 31 blocks of me just chasing him. And we pull up at this AM/PM. It's on the corner of Martin Luther King and 19th. You could probably look my story up still, dude.
Probably.
So anyway, we're in there. They go to get out, and they're in a big, huge Econoline van, right? And he has this they used to have tables in them that you could take out and bring out.
Yeah.
He has this table, and he's coming at me, and I get out of the car, and I have these knives, and he swings this big-ass table, and I, like, move out of the way, and I stick him a little bit. He drops the table, and he takes off back to the van.
I stick him a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm stuck on that part, too.
So they go to leave, and I stab the back tire. So when they came out, that's a big-ass full-size van, dude. That thing ain't going nowhere. So instead of, like, going out and, like, trying to go, I just, like, went straight over the curb and, like, through the flower bed, across diagonally through the intersection, and he was out of the van. And I just hit the van with him right in it.
Did he?
Then did the cop show up?
Yeah, so the back of the van kind of broke, so he fell into, like, this little cave part that, so he didn't even really get hurt. Like, this whole thing, he literally only got, like, a little stab wound.
Luckily, right?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
We don't like this
luckily.
guy.
So when did the cops come?
So we fled back to the house that we were at, and then the cops came there, and
So they called them then? Someone called
I have
them,
no
maybe?
idea.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was them. And
Did you try hiding?
13. I was gonna take it like a man and wait for them to come in the house. I sat upstairs with a gun for like 30 something minutes waiting, and then my girlfriend
With a gun. What were you going to do with that gun?
wait for them to just pop their head up. I was
What
trying to
was your
figure out-
escape plan? Like how?
There
So
was
your
no
intent was
escape.
to
I had
kill
no
is what you're
idea. I was
saying.
so lost, confused, and scared at that time. I just figured I was gonna die.
Were you high?
Phew, yeah. I wouldn't have done any of that.
Yeah, you ain't doing that
without
shit
the drugs,
sober
bro.
for sure.
You're not thinking straight. You're high. You're hiding in this attic. You have a gun.
I'm not in an attic. I'm just in the top floor in a bedroom.
Top floor.
Yeah,
And you're
I had
just
a gun.
waiting.
Yeah, there was 13 people in the house,
What are you
like
thinking?
with us, and so everybody else came downstairs
What are you
and,
thinking
and
right now?
put it there. I'm thinking that they're gonna come up, and I'm just gonna.
Were you done? I'm gonna give
Yeah,
up.
I was done. I was ready for them to. I figured I'd die that day.
Did they arrest you on the spot?
It took 32 minutes for them and my girlfriend to talk me out of coming downstairs
Why didn't you just wait for him to come upstairs?
because of my girlfriend at the time.
Other than her, you would have been
Probably.
just ready to go.
I was ready to go. Yeah.
You probably didn't see a way out at that point.
That was my way out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, long story short there, they brought us downstairs, had me in a lineup. Dude showed up in the back of an ambulance and picked me out of a lineup.
Did they get random guys for this lineup? Like, how was this lineup?
No, there was
done?
13 people in the home.
So they used the people
They just
there.
used everybody there and had us all stand outside.
Okay.
And he pointed you out.
Yeah.
How long did you serve for this one?
So I was looking at 127 years, but because the dude has like a really bad record, his wife, his own kids, they were not backing him up. Like he had no like grounds for it, just hearsay. The people at the AM/PM, if you guys ever see this, I love you. There was no video footage, no nothing. So I could have beat the case, but I had no idea. I was 18. I was looking at 127 years, and they came at me with 15 months for attempted a second-degree assault. I said, I'll take it.
You just accept the first offer.
That wasn't the first, but that was the best.
And so you served 127 days?
No, I served 15 months.
15 months.
Yep.
While you were in there, did you just want to give up? Did you
No, I wanted to get high.
really?
Yeah, so I figured out a way to get drugs and.
I was going to say, can you access drugs in jail? That was my next question.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you can. I've just never experienced it.
Don't.
Are we allowed
I
to
don't
ask
plan on it.
how?
I mean, if there's a will, there's a way.
Think about it. You're putting all of these, like, I'm not saying you're a bad guy, but you're just putting all these people in jail or prison, right? That kind of think alike in a way.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to find drugs. You're going to be able to find
That
whatever
is-
you
do
want.
anything.
Yeah.
That is so wild to me. So they don't find you. If they catch you high in jail, what happens? Or in prison?
I mean, you're in prison. Do you fucking care?
Yeah, where are they going to go? To prison again?
There's a jail
add more
inside.
time
There's
to
a
your
jail
sentence?
inside of prison, but it's just solitary confinement, which ain't shit. It's hard being in solitary confinement. I did a year program my third time.
A year.
Yeah, so programs are where you like get in trouble for something that's pretty extensive, and they'll give you a program in the hole.
So what was the third thing that was extensive?
So when I was in prison the third time, there was a lot of drug activity and stabbings that happened, and they thought I was a part of it. So they kept me under investigation for a year.
Were you a part of it?
No.
Nope. Yeah, I don't think he was at this point. He's been doing great. So solitary confinement, what's it like? What are you doing in there all day?
Counting bricks.
Counting bricks. Can you get
Yeah.
out for like an hour a day?
You get an hour every 2 to 3 days, depending if the
Every
guards
2
are
or
okay
3
with it
days.
or not. Yeah.
And what's getting out?
I mean, there's a little room that's like a little bigger than the room you were already in, except for there's a roof that's like, it's not open because it's fenced, but like you get fresh air and you get a handball. Yeah. Big time
Did you look
shit
forward to
right
that?
there. I looked forward to the fresh air because your nose starts getting all fucked up because you're just breathing all dry air and shit. And
How's the food?
it could be better for sure. It could be a lot better.
Can you earn money in prison?
Yeah, you have what's called programming. So like you can work in the kitchen. The prison has to run.
Okay.
So we run the prison. The guards just run us, or try to anyway.
What do you mean try to?
I mean, there's so little of them and so many of us. They have to kind of keep a balance. There are a few assholes in there, and they've probably gotten beat up a few different times, and they still continue to be assholes. But for the most part, like, if you're not even if you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing, if you're not causing a massive ruckus in it, most of them will leave you alone.
So this is nothing comparable to what you went through, but Tristan said that when he was in jail, he had to ask a question to the guards 3 different times before they even answer him. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of the same concept? Like they don't.
No,
respect
jail's
you?
different than prison.
Okay.
Yeah, in the jail, guards are assholes. Or they're just the cops in jail. They're just assholes. There's probably some good ones too, but and they deal with a lot of shit. They got all of us. We're in jail. We're coming off of drugs. We don't care. Most of us are looking at more time than we've been alive. So you can't necessarily blame them for being assholes either, but they could also take that into consideration at the same time. You know what I mean?
How long was the third time?
So I got out the first time. I was out maybe 6 or 7 months. Then I got caught with some firearms. So I went to jail for that for 33 months. That was fun. I loved it. Not really. And then I got out, and I was out for
30. You act like 33 months isn't that long. That's a long
3
time.
months short of 3 years. Yeah.
So you just went back for 3 years. You're like, oh, no big deal.
That's what it is. Mhm.
No big deal. He didn't
Did
have a choice.
Did you have friends in prison?
Yeah.
Did you feel like just giving up at that point? Like, I'm never going to go back
No.
to No?
Drugs and money, man.
That's all it was?
Yeah.
So you're sitting in
can make a
jail.
lot of fucking
Are you
money
thinking,
sitting
like,
in-
I'm never going to do this again?
No.
What are you thinking?
I can't wait to get out
So I
get
can
so I
do
can
it
get
again.
another thing to re-up and get started again.
So this is the third time, right?
Yeah, so the third time was probably the biggest part of all of it. I was selling massive drugs and doing a lot of things, and I got targeted by the police, and so I got put in a situation where I was basically kind of I was definitely doing wrong, but I was also kind of getting too big for obviously the bigger players, because it was just me. I didn't have an army, you know what I mean? And a lot of those people do. And so as long as you don't overstep, they'll let you grow as much as you want. But I wanted to grow as big as, I mean, I would have been Scarface if they'd have let me, you know what I mean? But obviously we never made it there. Otherwise I'd still be doing this. But so I get in trouble again, second-degree assault, firearm, tampering with witnesses, all this shit.
When you say tampering with witnesses,
yeah, we'll just leave it at that one.
Yeah, they can go Google that charge.
If you have people that are like gonna go tell on you, and if there's ways of making that people don't go tell on you, then they might hit you with tampering with witnesses, depending
If they
on
end up
you're
telling anyway.
They don't show up to court, or they can't get to court, or they can't get anywhere. That's tampering with the witness.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So I ended up getting that. They gave me 73 months, and I did every penny of it. And it's crazy too, because this is when life started to change. So it's also when I had like the most problems in prison in regards of like drugs, and because I really had shit locked down. I've already been 3 times. Everybody already knows who I am, and I already know how to get everything done and get shit in there, you know? So it was on and cracking for a long time. And then I remember one time we're walking the yard, me and a couple boys, and I have like 3 years left. And this dude's talking about underwater welding, right? And so I hung around certain people in there, you know. You kind of stay to your race pretty much in the prisons I was at. And this kid was talking about commercial diving, and he was just like a normal kid. Like, he just walked the yard, stayed out of people's business, wanted to hurry up and do his time and get out. And I'm like, hey, man, come here. He's like, oh, fuck. He had no idea what was going on. I was like, hey, overheard you talking about that commercial diving shit. Like, tell me all about it. Like, sit down right now and tell me everything that you know about this. And he's going through it and telling me it. And then it randomly, like not too long after that, one of my buddies, his co-defendant actually was a commercial diver and did it as well. They like people like me, you know. They want people that don't cry about their girlfriend not answering the fucking phone, and, you know, they don't have to come in from being offshore because they can't get their homesick, like, and you can make a ton of money. I was like, man, this may be my way out. And so I followed that, you know. I figured it all out. I found out where there was a diving school. It was in Ballard, Washington.
So wait, obviously after you served your time, the second you got out, you were focusing on...
I was focusing on it while I was in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting everything lined up.
Were you done with drugs at that point? Like, were you like, I'm
Hell
done?
no.
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 So I'm going to go be an
I didn't think anything about quitting
on
drugs. I just thought about I could do something different.
While on drugs?
Sure.
Okay.
And I did it on drugs.
So Ballard, Utah.
Yeah. Ballard, Washington.
Ballard, Washington.
Yeah. So I get out. I'm in a work release facility in Seattle, and you're supposed to work. You know, it's work release, not school release. And so there was a lot of fight about that, but I refused to lose. Like, I was the first person to ever be allowed to go to school while you're at work release.
Really?
Yeah, because, I mean, they told me no a few times, and I said, I'll just go out and hit the next person that walks back. You can send me back to prison, because I'm not going to work. This is what I want to do. This is my only chance to get out of it, and you're stopping me. They gave me an impossible task, and I did it.
What was it?
Have every single instructor at that school say that they'll sign off when I show up and when I leave.
Really?
You have Navy master divers. Like, these are people that aren't babysitting you. They are respected on this. Like, they are bad motherfuckers.
Did you just tell them your story and like listen?
I did. I talked to him about it, and Hi Spalding was amazing. I could actually cry about it, you know. That man changed my life, but everybody signed off on it and said they would do that for me, and so I went to dive school, dude, and you know, it was not fucking easy. No car, you know, no money, I just had to figure out how to get from one place to the other every morning.
How do you schedule a bus time when you're in prison?
Dude, sometimes well, it's not necessarily prison. It's like a work release building in downtown Seattle. Okay. It's a locked door. Like, you just don't walk out. They have to allow you to get out and stuff like that. But it's like a room. It's almost like an apartment with locked doors.
Okay. Is it kind of like a halfway house after prison?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But it's like an actual facility kind of thing, but it's still just like a halfway house. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a computer? Do you have a phone?
Hell no. I had a phone, but I had no idea how to use that thing.
He didn't even have money for a card to get to and from work.
I'm
He
just
doesn't have a
wondering,
computer.
how do you know what time the bus leaves? How do you know where to go?
I figured it all out, man. I had no choice. I figured every part of what school, every part of what I needed to do, what time I had to be there, how I'd be there. I mean, I was never late. I'm still the same way, as you already know. I'm early, everything.
He
Doesn't
is
matter
very
what it
early.
is, how it is. I'm
But you're
the first one
motivated
there
to
and
get
I'm the
things
last
done.
one gone.
That's why I'm confused. Why were you still on drugs at this point?
Because I wasn't while I was at that facility.
Okay.
Because they UA you
'Cause you
and
can't,
breathalyzer
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
time. But as soon as I got released from that facility, I was still going to dive school. And because it's a 9-month program and I was only in there for 5. So I had 4 months left to go. And so I would be at the work release for the 5 months, and then after that I ended up moving in with this girl that I had met, and so I'm living with her. Got the address approved because you have to have an approved address. They have to go inspect the house, make sure you're good, you're on parole, like the whole thing, you know. And so, you know, they approved it there. You know, we were there. I'm drinking, hadn't started drugs again yet, and I'm just drinking every day. So the whole alcoholic just right there, you know. But I was able to like keep going. Like I was able to do what I needed to do. So I was like a functioning.
So it was
I
sustainable
just drank
at
a
this
lot of beer.
You're a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, I drank a lot of beer, like 15 to 20 a day after.
Really?
Yeah, I'd go out with my friend because they're all young. They're not like me. You know, their parents are rich as fuck, most of them. And they had like no worries. And so I was with them and they just pounded. Like we'd go to the bar after school and just talk
So
shit.
was it part of like wanting to fit in a little bit?
I didn't care about
with
fitting
them?
in. I was just
feeling
with them,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've always like paved my own way, so fitting in has never really been my forte.
I feel like you were a lot like that, where you kind of just are who you are. Mm-hmm. But like when I first met you, I'm like, this guy is wired. Your eyes, bro, they don't blink. They just are always on.
Yeah, I got this little, like, I'll do that sometimes.
Yeah.
It'll just go. It's just little ticks from doing as much drugs as I've done in my life. And
Yeah.
now I'm not doing them.
And then, so you got released, right?
Yeah, how old were you at this point?
I was
of the story?
29.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, I was 29 when I got, like, done. That's the last time I've ever been locked up, and that was in 2009.
And that was the 4th time?
Third time.
3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, wait.
You've never been back since?
Well, it's the 5th. Well, it's the 3rd prison sentence.
Okay. Isn't there like a rule? I don't know what it's called,
The
but
strike law.
yeah.
Yeah,
3
those are
strikes, you're out.
violent offenses.
Okay. So
I
it's just
got
different.
2
So if you have one more, you're in prison for life.
forever.
Good time to stop for sure.
You
So
got
I have 3 of those to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
You might not make it out your first
No,
time. if you go to
yeah,
somebody's
we'll leave
bitch.
that for different episodes.
What like initiated you being sober? Because you said you've been sober for what, 6.5 years? So that was before your daughter.
5.5 years, yeah.
That was before your daughter was born,
Yeah.
right?
mhm,
And she's your only kid right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
mhm. I have a son out there somewhere.
All right, very
He's
nice.
in Louisiana, but
Do you ever try to
we'll
find
just,
them?
I've done a lot, yeah. We'll
If
just
you're
kinda
watching this
leave
by
that part.
some chance.
Okay, we'll leave it out there.
We've tried.
We're
Joseph
leaving-
Rose.
So yeah, I got out when I was 29, graduated from dive school, and the director of the school called somebody in Louisiana, because if you break out in the Gulf of Mexico as a commercial diver, you get a job anywhere on the planet. So I graduated dive school. Dive school is not scuba. That's for other people.
Okay.
I was trained on scuba, but we're way past that. So I'm surface supplied air, underwater welding. We didn't do a lot of underwater welding, but
One of the most dangerous jobs in the world.
yeah, on the
Right.
planet. Yeah. That's why I liked it.
And you were high at this point?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Just drinking. So they had somebody come over from Louisiana. She flew out. Her name was, well, maybe I shouldn't say her name, but she flew out and she's like, hey, we're not really hiring you, but he told me that you're somebody I shouldn't let pass. And I just like kind of started like crying a little bit, like, you know, because I've never been told that. And she's like, if you can get Louisiana, you got a job. And I just looked at her. I'm like, I'm fresh out of prison. I got no money. I got nothing. Like, I don't know what I can do. And she's like, well, will one of your classmates be able to come? I said, I don't know. I'll be right back. One of my really good friends, his parents have, you know, plenty of money. And he was like my ride. That was my boy, you know. It's like, hey, this is what's up, dude. If you can get us there, they'll give us a job. And he knows my situation. He's helped me out. I mean, he's bought me food before. The dude's a good guy. His name's Ryan. And, you know, he's like, I'll tell you in 5 minutes. Called his mom, said, what's up? Mom said, let's do it. I'll get you guys an apartment. I'll get you guys everything you need. We'll we'll do whatever you need to do. She's like, yep. I'm like, brought him in. I was like, hey, we can get there. They're like, you're hired. So we fucking left Washington, packed our shit, and just started heading across the country from Washington all the way to Louisiana.
And how long did you work there for?
I was diving for about 7 years.
Okay.
But
Towards the end, what happened?
From diving and the money you're making and the lifestyle you live, I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. I don't want to put anything on that industry. But you can do whatever you want, you know? And so I was doing all my drugs and stuff again. Almost 5 years to the day, I did my first line of cocaine again.
Were you trying to taper back? Like, I can manage it this time. I have money to afford it.
Nope, I didn't think about that. I just wanted to get high.
He didn't care about the drugs.
I was drunk.
He wanted it.
I was
Didn't
drunk,
want to be
and
responsible.
he brought me some shit, and it looked like fish scales, and I was like, yep, give me that.
Really?
And I did it, and it brought me all the way back to when I quit.
So you relapsed is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it brought me all the way back. It put me exactly where I left off. And then I was off and running.
Drinking
dude.
doesn't do that for you. It's just,
No,
just
but
okay.
drinking lets my give a fuck go away.
So then it leads to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you came back to that point, did you know that you were done? Like you're going back to prison?
Nope. I just figured let's ride.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I did. I was doing drugs and diving and sleeping on the bottom of the ocean and
In the suit, you're just sitting there. You're
I'd
high
be
as a kite.
strung out, dude. I'd be at the bottom of the ocean and I'd clip into the downline and I'd fall asleep.
That is.
I mean, I would work some
Wild.
too. You know, I'd work
Yeah.
a lot. I busted my ass. But like sometimes I'd be so strung out that I would just wear myself out to where I couldn't move. And I had to just lock myself into the downline like this, you know, so you don't float away.
Yeah.
And I just hit the snooze button, man.
Were you safe? Like,
Yeah, hell
when
yeah.
you're underwater welding, isn't it like electricity?
I wasn't doing a lot of underwater welding. We do a lot of like construction work, platform work, pipeline, like you name it, we can go do it.
It was a good time to nap a little bit.
It's a horrible time to nap. Business-wise and money-wise, I mean, a dive's like $20,000 a person.
Wow.
I don't get $20,000, but like the business
Yeah,
is paying
yeah.
$20,000 a dive, you know?
Did you have friends that were in the same spot as you?
Not probably as bad, you know? They could, several of them could like recreationally use drugs. I mean, I wish I could do that still today, but it's just, I know better now, you know?
I feel like your mindset, if you were ever to go back on it, like,
It's over.
not even over, but you would beat yourself up more than you would back then.
It wouldn't be beat up.
I feel like
I
you
would have
hold-
accepted that it's over and I'd ride out.
Even in sales, like you hold yourself to such a high standard,
Yeah.
and you don't let yourself fall behind or you get depressed.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
but
I
when
feel
did you
like
end
if
up
were to
in-
relapse, you're gonna go back to like, that's not who I am anymore.
Okay,
You know,
you're
like,
going
better
too
than that.
far into the story because, so you did your underwater welding. When did you move to Utah? How long did you do that for?
So I did underwater welding for about 7 years. I moved to Utah in 2015, middle of 2015.
And are you
so.
still using drugs at this point?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, hardcore. That's why I left. So I married the girl next door in Louisiana.
Okay.
It was wonderful. I thought it was gonna like give me a normal life. Like I thought everything would like stop, you know, like white picket fence, you know, everything.
Yeah, the whole family. Yeah.
But it didn't, you know. She just started using with me. We were married like 4 months. Life was at the end. I was finally tapping out. I called my mom. I was like, hey, like, you remember when you kicked me out? Like, I need fucking help finally. You know? And, I mean, there's little parts of my life that she had, like, peeked her head in. But like, who wants a part of that? You know, like I can't blame my mom for everything I've done. Like that's not how that works. So she let me come here, and I stayed with her. So that's how I got to Utah. But I was only there like 2 weeks because I was using. You know, she didn't want that shit there. She was drinking. We'd fight. I mean, it was just like I was 12 again. You know. So I went to the streets of Utah, and they scared the shit out of me.
Why?
There's so many things you guys do that we don't do, you know, like
the streets of Utah are terrifying.
like,
Okay, I see that.
People telling on people and then like sell them dope right after that. I'm like confused at what's going on here. So I just figured like lots of people are working for the police here. And I don't know anybody, so I would be next, you know, like they would use me as somebody to fall for, like somebody to, you know, fall for some kind of trouble, or I'm just not part of the group, you know? And that scared me because I've never seen a group like this, you know? Like, dude went to jail 6 times and he was back the same night all 6 times. Like, it tripped me out. I just never seen no shit like that. And nobody did anything or like checked him or asked him about it or like, where's your paperwork? Like nothing. And it was just like, I can't be here. This is fucking scary. And then I don't believe in God necessarily, but I believe in like there's something, you know, there's a higher power of some sort. And so all these people are like starting to come into my life talking about treatment and all these things, you know. And I liked the idea. Like I was like, wow, like there's really like help for what's going on with me, because I didn't want to be the way I was, but I did want to be the way I was because I thought that's where it was always going to be. And you know, long story short, break on that part, I ended up getting into a treatment center. It was a long road, super paranoid, figured I was getting set up for some shit. Get a random call saying, hey, we'll scholarship you, after I tried to get into a treatment center. And if I didn't have money, I couldn't get in. And I was broke. Like I was at the bottom end of everything, you know, like that last of the bottle, you're just trying to get something out of it. That's where I was. And there was like, it was dry, you know. And so I ended up going to treatment. I couldn't stay sober in treatment. I had like this kid, I was like forcing this kid to like have more, he got caught with drugs in the room by me and he wouldn't sell them to me. So I took them and then I made him get me drugs for the next few days. And then I told him myself, which I've never done before.
Why?
Because I was sitting next to people that were trying to do something I wasn't doing. And I just felt bad.
You want to take accountability for what you did?
Yeah, I guess so.
Were you this is like the point where you're trying to change.
Yeah. I felt bad. We were at a movie, the new Jason Bourne movie came out, but it had Jeremy Renner in it, right? And we're at the movie and everybody's having fun and I'm staring at it. I got like perfect vision, but it's blurry as fuck because I'm that high. And I look over at this girl named Nicole and I was just like, she's like busting her ass to stay sober and I'm all fucked up. And I got up and went and told the staff and they took us out of the movie and then kicked me out. And so I ended up in a treatment center out here in Utah County. And Utah County has definitely changed my life. You know, my whole life I didn't believe in God or power. I was God. Like I was everything I needed to be. And, you know, I don't even know how to really translate what happened. I went to treatment, you know, I still had prison mentality. I still had street mentality. I'm still like have this name to hold up, you know, and, you know, that got broke down. There was lots of situations that happened while in treatment, going through it. And I'm like opening all these doors of like what I've been doing and dealing with stuff I had no idea I had problems with. And you know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. There was like this huge moment. I'll kind of break this down so you guys have an idea. So the third day I was there was this little 18-year-old kid. And he was mouthing to me, right? And I turned to him, I looked at him, I was like, shut up or I'm going to smack the out of you. And every dude in that living room stood up and said, no, you're not. And I said, you know what, motherfuckers? We can go outside right now. I'll line you up and I'll go through every one of you one at a time. So that's what we did. We went outside and we started to go, and one of the female staff members jumped in the middle of the very first swing. I always tell her she helped gift my life, you know. So you can imagine how the atmosphere was. So this is probably the biggest, most part of any part of my life. This is why I'm still sober today. This is why I still do what I do. This is why what you see in me when we were at work, and how I do not stray from what I'm doing. So it was my turn to like pick the activity, and I wanted to pick an activity that nobody liked, because I was like, fuck those guys still, you know what I mean? Like, it was tension still weeks later, you know?
A little bit of power. You have a little bit of power over
Yeah,
it.
just something. So I wanted to pick something that nobody wanted. I picked it, and I didn't even want it, but I just knew that nobody would want, right? I don't remember exactly what it was, because I was more thinking about like what was going to happen. And so we go to this place, and it's closed 2 hours early. It's a business. Like it shouldn't be closed, right? And so I'm like, motherfucker, like, can I pick something else? Can we do something else? They're like, we have to call clinicals. And so clinical gave us, we're going to get a red box and go back to the ranch, right? The ranch is the treatment center. So we stop, and they're like, you can go in and pick the movie. I was like, I don't want the fucking movie. Like, go get the fucking movie. You know, I'm sitting in the front seat. Staff's technically supposed to sit there. I just don't care, you know. I just want to get back and just go up to bed and just be left alone. So they get a movie, we go back to the ranch, and they put it on. I go upstairs. They come, and they're like, we're not going to start the movie till you're downstairs. I'm like, these motherfuckers. So then I go downstairs, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in the back, so I could just bounce as soon as it starts. You know, like, these guys. And I'll get emotional, too, just here. So they start this movie, and immediately it's talking to me. Never experienced this before. I've done a lot of acid and, you know, mushrooms and all this stuff, and I've tripped like that, but this was nothing like that. It was just direct, like, I'm talking to you kind of thing when the movie is going. And it's just talking about, like, where I've been, what I'm, like, going through now, and where I'm going to go. And it was so real that I thought they were poisoning me. Like, we had beef. Like, the house was not cool. I almost got kicked out because of that whole thing. And so my mind's going, like, I've been around people that would definitely poison some. Like, I've been around people that would do really shitty shit to people. So that's what I was thinking was happening. Because it was just too vivid. I'm in the back. I'm crying through this whole fucking movie. This hard-ass dude that, you know, da-da-da, and I'm bawling like a bitch in the back, you know? And I had no idea what was going on, so when the movie got over, I went upstairs, and I'm, like, sitting, trying to figure out what happened. Like, what the fuck just happened? That was way too real. And, so the next morning, they wake us up to go to the gym. I hadn't slept yet. I was still, like, super paranoid about what was going on. And I was like, I'm not leaving until I, like, talk to the clinical director. Like, I need to know what just happened, what's going on. I don't want to be here. And so he came in. Me and her were fighting about leaving, too. But he came in. We go in. We start talking. This man is the most impactful man of my entire life ever, and always will be there. Nobody will ever be able to take this spot. It's just a different thing. And I'm explaining to him everything that's going on. And, you know, he translated it as God was talking to you. Like, he's forgiven you, he's this, he's that, you know, this, it's that, it's this, it's that. And I just remember it's like sitting on my knees, and I'm just bawling. Like, I had no idea what's going on. Like, I didn't know, you know. And, he's got, like, this picture. He believes in, like, actual, like, God, probably, you know, like probably most of Utah does. But he would talk to me as in like a higher power. So he'd like bring it to where I want to be. Because I don't like the word God. Like, that shit's so fucked up as it is. You know what I mean?
He was making it more relatable to you.
Yeah, individualized. Absolutely. It was beautiful. And, we get done. I've got a stack of tissue, and I'm trying to not look like I've been crying for 45 minutes because everybody just got back from the gym. And so I go to get up and I go to leave, and he's like, hey. So what's up? He's like, what was the name of the movie by chance? This gets me every time. It's like, why do you want to know the name of the movie? He's like, just tell me. And the name of the movie was Now You See Me Too. And he starts laughing, and I didn't understand. And I'm like, why the fuck are you laughing at me? And he gets up, this is a big-ass biker dude, bald head, beard down to his dick, rings on every finger. And he comes up and he puts both hands on my shoulders, and he says, Joe, the name of the movie was Now You See Me Too. What more do you want? That just dropped me right there. I had no idea what just happened at that point. And, man, I went upstairs and finally fell asleep. I've never been at peace like I was at that point. And, so I finally understood why and what was happening in my life, It wasn't me in charge of bringing me to treatment and doing all these other things. It was whatever this higher power is, it can't protect me anymore. Like, it needs me to take care of myself some now, And, so that's when recovery became real. I'm a soldier. It doesn't matter what kind of soldier I am. I'm going to be a soldier for whatever it is that needs to be done. And so, that's when I really took off in recovery and, knew that this was going to be my path of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And, that I needed a book and I needed to do what people are telling me to do instead of me telling me what I'm always going to do. And, so I jumped in going to meetings and helping people and working, in recovery of some sort, whether it's, sponsoring guys or being of service I used to be so uncomfortable with myself, I'd have to jump in my car and drive around and see if somebody needed help on the side of the road, That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help when we don't know what to do. And so, man, I'm shaking from it.
No, it makes it more real. So instead of following your own aspirations and going with what you wanted to be in life,
I wanted to be Scarface, bro.
So you opened your mind
I wanted
to other
to run the
possibilities.
shit, but I'm not the right person to run the shit. It's a different world for different people. And I just submitted, man. For the first time in my life, I was just brought to my knees from that. Literally, how much more of a moment do you need for your higher power to be now you see me too, motherfucker? What more do you need? I've given you everything that you need to understand. I just smacked you across the face. Are you going to believe in me yet? Yeah, I'm going to. All right, you got me.
And that was, 6 years ago? 7
Yeah,
years?
five and a half years ago, yeah.
Okay.
My sobriety birthday is September 5th, 2016. I got a house being built right now that I bought in Eagle Mountain.
Nice.
Are you terrified of ever going back to that place?
No.
So you're not ever going to?
I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
How do you stay so committed? Because there's so many people who always go
I've
back.
been told specifically I don't have any more playtime.
I think you can't really tell people, the thing with recovery is, unless you accept the help and want to change, you can't.
Yeah.
It won't do
Exactly.
anything.
That's
So,
why
like-
I've
I've noticed it in you.
31
Yeah.
years playing, bros, because nobody's going to tell me to stop.
Are you always going to your meetings every week?
Not all the time. I don't go as much near as I used to.
They help out a lot?
I support a lot. I go to a lot of functions and a lot of events, and I help a lot of people with it. I still go to some meetings, but not near like I used to. I still help a lot of people, still do sponsorship, things like that.
Are you ever tempted?
Nope.
to like go back to your old life.
I've had everything I love in my hand, ready to go when I was cleaning out people's places, and it means nothing to me anymore.
That is wild.
If you do the work, it'll go. But you got to do the work. There's only like 1% of us that make it.
And the work's hard. It's really hard.
It's easy to, like, the work is easy. It's just hard to do.
Yeah.
So they said, like, I seen this recent meme. They said, like, put your phone down and every time, and don't touch it for 24 hours. But every time you look at it, that's how often an addict thinks about drugs and alcohol.
Dang, yeah, that's a lot.
So that obsession, and then you're like there,
Every
and then
30
you got a
seconds,
text message that's like from somebody that you've been waiting to hear from, but you still can't touch it. That obsession's gonna take over. You're gonna grab that phone. And you're gonna look at that fucking message.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. That's a good analogy, honestly.
Does it get better with time?
It does. Yeah, I don't have any fucking desire.
Joe, you're an inspiration.
Yes.
And I even know that your friends from those meetings, you're helping change their lives as well.
Oh yeah, they've helped me change mine.
Do you feel like you're that person that you can be, that you wanted to be for your daughter, that you wanted as a child?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm a good dad. I love that girl.
She's adorable. I won't post a picture of her or anything like that, but she's a cute little girl.
She is.
And you're a good dad.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah, she's my world for sure, man. But the journey's not even over, you know? Like, I've always had like this dream to be rich, and I'm gonna be rich.
We're gonna do it without drugs this time.
That's why it's taken 5 years, 6 years to get where I'm at now.
But you're already more stable than you've ever been in your entire life.
Oh, 100%.
You've never had a stable place to go back to, a place to call home, and a daughter.
And now you have
This
your
is my
house,
first place that I've ever had that has just my name on it. Every time else it was in somebody else's name, so I didn't get in trouble for what was in it.
You're a man, Joe.
I know. It's like,
Nice.
I became something, huh?
Hey, I really appreciate your time that you've taken out of your day to come over here and talk about your story.
Yeah, no problem.
But it's an inspiration not only to me, but to everybody out
Yeah,
there.
you should be proud. That is incredible.
Thank you.
You went from serving time in prison for 10 plus years to now killing it at your job and owning your own house and having a daughter.
Yeah.
So if it's possible, and Joe, it's possible if you guys watching.
Anybody can do it if they want to, man.
Yeah, if they want to, for sure.
Is there anything you'd like to say to like anybody younger who is kind of going through that same thing that you went through as a kid?
Man, so like tell something to my younger self.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self?
Don't give up. That's the only thing that's like got me to this point, was not giving up. You know, even when you think it's over, it's not. You're still breathing.
A lot of people, they go through and have an addiction and they're like, I'm done. They go 6 months and then
They relapse.
they relapse. What would you tell that person that relapses?
Don't worry about that. It's part of who you are. Just get back up.
You just have to look forward at that point.
One of the things, I don't know how this all works or how you post it, but you could put my number at the bottom, and if anybody ever needed help with questions, help with addiction, help with, it doesn't matter what it is, you can hit me up. I don't care.
Do you have social
They're
media?
okay
Is there
with that.
somewhere?
I have some social media
that they can find you?
Facebook. That's about it. I'm old school.
I mean, I'll post it if you want me to, but
I don't care.
You can
Go
post
ahead.
like your meeting
Doesn't
place,
bug
like
me.
where you guys meet during the week.
Yeah, you can post it on Facebook. I don't care.
Cool.
But yeah, if anybody ever needs help with that, that's no doubt. Like, I got friends in this shit. If you need treatment, you need all this stuff, like, we'll figure it out. If you don't have insurance, you don't have any money, I know all the ways now. So yeah, I would definitely be down to help and save anybody's life. There's no question there.
I love that. Do you have anything more to say, Jess?
I don't think so. It's been a really interesting story. Thank you so much for coming and sharing it with us.
Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no
Anything
problem.
last thing that you want to say to the viewers out there?
No, love you. Have fun. Be safe.
Guys, go like and subscribe. We really appreciate your time watching, and we'll be back with episode 5. This was Joe Rose and his life experience.